Hey everybody, how's it going? This video is just to show you unit coherency. This is as best as I could get it quickly. 2-inch unit coherency, basically the maximum distance you allow from model to model, 2 inches. And that's how these three Marines are organized. And looking at it, zoom in a little bit, it probably looks like a pretty big distance to some of you, and myself included. And that's probably because, like myself, you don't always go after a 2-inch unit coherency because, well, for a variety of factors. I personally don't always go for a 2-inch unit coherency because with my Deathwing, I'm trying to utilize terrain to my best advantage, not just for cover, but also for blocking line of sight from the enemy. So if I go 2-inch unit coherency for even just a 5-man squad, I may put guys out there that out there in harm's way that wouldn't have been if I bunched up a bit. That may be some other people's reasonings as well, I don't know. But 2-inch unit coherency also has a nice added bonus of protecting you from blast weaponry, making not so much from not getting hurt at all, but really for negating blast weaponry effects, especially for small blast weapons. The more bunched up you are with a blast weapon, the more it's going to hurt. And that's not good. And time again, I see somebody get mauled by a blast weapon in one of the units, and the next turn, they really open up their units for the unit coherency in order to try and negate that from happening again. And it shouldn't have to take being mauled by blast weaponry to think about your unit coherency. Moving in the movement phase is pretty important, just like, you know, knowing what targets to shoot and knowing what to assault and when. All of it's important. And in the moving phase, it's not just moving from point A to point B. It's do I open up my unit coherency to max distance? Do I shrink it up a bit? You know, we can start off at this max distance, let's say, and now you're moving to behind cover. You can close in on each other, closing the ranks, as it were, to, yes, bunch up, but it's to make use of the terrain, to get behind it out of line of sight, or to get into it to get a cover save, whatever it may be. And then branching out again if you're going to go into the open against blast weaponry. There's also the factor for horde armies. Horde armies usually always have some type of cheap unit. A cheap unit that can be pretty big. And those units are great for screening. And a really good way to screen is pretty much like a wall in the front, and you can make your biggest wall possible with full 2-inch unit coherency. And I've seen it done to effect. I don't see it as much as I thought I would see it, but I still do see it. And that's a case where that squad is meant to die pretty much. You don't care what happens to it. If it actually hurts your opponent, that's a bonus. It's really there to force your opponent to think, do I want to attack the guys behind it, which will now get a save if they're allowed it, you know, if they're not monster creatures or vehicles. And even so, depending on the unit, you might give a vehicle a cover save. Or do I go after the cannon fodder in the front and hope that I can really whittle that down a lot and quickly before the things behind it get into their effective range? And that's a case where it's not so much thinking about your movement phase in terms of unit coherency, it's just keeping it as big as you can. And the opposite end of the spectrum for the elite units or the elite armies, or even for like standard armies that aren't horde, is kind of a fluctuation in your unit coherency, going to the 2-inch distance for unit coherency because you may be moving through open terrain and you know your opponent's got blast weaponry, or bunching up a bit to get into cover or to get behind this this nice wall of cover, to block line of sight. And I don't know how accurate this is because I play with Space Marines, but I think armor save may have something to do with it also. The reason I say that is, with my Deathwing, I really don't care if I get hit with a frag missile and everybody gets affected. It's a 2+ armor save, and as much as I'm terrible at making them, I will make them because it's just a 2+ armor save. So it doesn't really bother me. Whereas, even with a 3+ armor save, I may be more inclined to not get wrecked by blast weapons every turn, and I can see as your armor save gets less, and the more you're, especially if you're in open terrain, I can see coherency maybe being paid attention to more. But it's important for anybody, regardless if you have a 2+ armor save or a 6+ armor save. Coherency and thinking about it when you move, not just staying it in one coherency distance all the time, not just staying 2 inches apart, but flexing and expanding and contracting from 2 inches to, let's say, like an inch, or really close together, or back up to 2 inches again, is what the movement phase is about, aside from do I move this unit here and how will that affect me later on. Just food for thought, kind of a bit of a rambling. It was a random topic that popped into my head, and I do think coherency should be thought about more than am I in coherency. And I'm not saying that I don't suffer from the same mindset, let's say, because I do. I only worry about coherency and making sure I'm actually in coherency for the most part. And it's only after if I get mauled really bad by a blast weapon, or if I see my opponent really has things that are relying on units being bunched up, then I'll take into consideration spreading out to max effect. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Feel free to leave a comment or even do a video response on unit coherency and how it affects your play style. Wow, that was weird. My voice really died there. Affects your play style. So that's pretty much it. And until next time, take it easy.